So we were talking about Beast Wars as a podcast about two comedians rewatching the 1990s TV series Beast Wars Transformers. Although we are discussing a children's television show, the podcast itself is not intended for children. Phil, you're not going to believe this. I've made an incredible scientific breakthrough. I've invented a teleporter.
Cool.
Can you think of all the amazing things we could do with this?
Yeah. We could send somebody a bomb.
Say that again?
We could send someone a bomb.
Like an explosive device?
Yes. That was my first idea and only idea. And I think it's the one we should go with.
Huh. Interesting. I guess I was thinking we could, send food to remote, impoverished areas, possibly retrieving people remotely from flooded zones or from beneath collapsed wreckage of some kind. But you're right. Those ideas are complete and utter shit.
Yeah. Way to come around.
Yeah, do you have anybody in mind?
Let's see. I think we have a group of enemies that we are fighting, but we've sworn that we would not kill because that would go against all of our principles and values. Let's send the bomb to them. Nice.
Yeah, there were a couple of annoying guys in high school I can think of. So, but we'll give them like 30 seconds to get away. That ought to be enough time, right?
All right, Mother Teresa.
Beep, boop, bop, boop. Whoa, bombs away. Man, well, I think we've explored this scientific possibility to the fullest.
It's hilarious because maybe we'll get into this later. That thought is so reckless. It's clearly what Aptimus would do.
Somebody say my name.
Yeah, Aptimus. I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on if you invented a teleporter, what would be the first thing you send?
First thing I'd send would be a bomb to the people who are most mildly annoying to me. Second thing I'd send is an order to the grocery store for some bananas. So we were talking about Beast Wars.
We were talking about Beast Wars.
Hello, everybody. I am Andy Hunter.
And I'm Phil Thomas.
Today we are talking about Beast Wars Season 1, Episode 4, Equal Measures. This episode hinges around the idea that the Maximals discover a way to teleport from their base to their Predacon base and the hijinks that ensue. And we just got into some of the Maximals planning. But let's talk about that when we get to that point in the episode. We start off with there's a lightning storm. It hits a mountain and exposes a giant amount of energon. The framing of that opening shot, it's like we see the lightning, and then we see Optimus narrowing his eyes, and then we see the lightning hitting the mountain. In any other show, it would seem like they were trying to say that Optimus willed the lightning to hit the mountain.
I didn't put that together, but I think you're right.
Like if this were a fantasy show about wizards or something, and you saw that sequence of shots, that's what it would mean. But no, instead he just happened to be looking closely at the mountain when lightning hit it. And it's one of those lightning strikes that we're aware of where lightning hits and makes a mountain just like implode. Maybe it would in the real world if we had lots of energon underneath mountains, I suppose.
Well, you would think in order for that to happen, the energon would have to explode.
Yeah. I posit that an ongoing theme of our rewatch of the show will be that energon does whatever the plot needs it to do in each episode.
Yeah, there are a lot of different fungible logistics, and you don't find out that they're critical until they're introduced in a critical way. He's going to fall into energon. Okay. That could kill him. Today? Yes, today only. Oh, no. This is a big problem. You better find a way out.
I know we run on energon, but also too much raw energon is bad. Like if you fell into a bunch of just uncooked chicken you'd get some salmonella, baby. That's no good. Cook that chicken, excellent. Raw chicken, dunzo.
That's very much true. But I also immediately thought of battering all of that chicken and making fried chicken out of it, which is not bad at all.
I mean, depends what you fry it in. You got to think about your cholesterol, brother.
Did somebody talk about cholesterol?
Apes MS, I did.
My cholesterol's high as shit.
Oh, eating a lot of fried bananas, maybe?
No. Lots of food with canola oil. You know, I complain about it all the time, but folks tell me that's just a bunch of sour apes.
I think they're being hard on you. I think as long as you're not being annoying about it, it's fine. But I would encourage you to cut back a bit. It will help you get into better ape.
I see what you did there, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying to, connect with you on the level that speaks to you. So anyway, Optimus is like, we've got to cancel this mission because it's too stormy. The mission that the Maximals are working on is setting up these survey posts, but also they're working on a bomb. And they sort of talk about them as if they are the same mission, but they don't say why that is. They talk about the survey posts will give us a better reading of all the energon around us. Okay. How does that tie into the bomb? These to me seem like two totally different projects that they just happen to be working on at the same time, but they talk about them as if they're one project.
Wow, I'm really glad you brought that up. It's funny, I still think about this through the lens of being a kid. You know, when you watch a kid's show and they bring in something somewhat complicated and you're just like, that's confusing, but I'm sure if I were an adult, it would make sense. Well, like now, today, wait, hold on. I am an adult. I should try to think through that, because if it doesn't make sense to me now, then maybe it's a problem with the show. And none of that occurred to me. You're right. Like, what does the bomb have to do with the posts before all of that transporter stuff happens? I have no idea.
I guess the Maximals had a plan. I don't know. We never hear it because the plans change. But so they talk about, we've got this bomb. We'll blast the Predacon base, but we just want to give them this tactical disadvantage. We don't want to kill them, despite Dinobot's fervent wishes, which we'll talk about Dinobot later on and how much bloodlust he has or doesn't. Dinobot, even though he'd more been talking about, let's bomb the Predacons, he goads Cheetor into setting up the survey posts, which, again, because the show tells us they're part of the same mission, I guess we have to just take that as a given. But Dinobot was really jazzed about the bomb. So I don't know why he's like, all right, I'm really going to make sure this survey post mission happens. Whatever, he tricks Cheetor into going out. We've got 2 episodes in a row where Cheetor becomes a hothead, disobeying orders. This episode ends up kind of having a different moral than the previous one. We'll talk about that when we get to the end. So Cheetor goes, he sets up all the survey posts, and he's, I guess, been setting them up right over Energon. And the post gets struck by lightning, and it teleports him into the Predacon base. He's greeted by Pterosaur. They have a fight in a big open room filled with lava. If that is the main part of the Predacon ship, no wonder they are in such a bad mood all the time. What a horrible place to live. I feel like blowing that up would be a gift to the Predacons. It might inspire them to move somewhere that's not filled with lava.
Yeah, I mean, it would fill the space with breathable air, you would think.
Yeah. Although, speaking of breathable air, shortly, Cheetor is running away from Scorponok and Waspinator. Do you think that's a regular corridor he's running through? Or do you think it's an air vent?
Oh, I thought it was an air vent.
I couldn't tell because it seemed a bit too small to be a corridor. But if it's an air vent, it's really big. But also, if it's an air vent, I thought, why would robots build a ship with air vents?
I mean, I could invent a reason, but I also see your point.
This is really neither here nor there. But before we get to Cheetor's fight with Scorponok and Waspinator, Pterosaur has accidentally teleported himself to the Maximal base. He's immediately greeted by Dinobot, who reacts as if he's been expecting him. There's not even a second of, whoa, what the? It's just, Oh, welcome. I hope you find it a pleasant stay. They make an alliance, supposedly, using this new teleportation ability. I'll tell you, I wish that when you and I did a fist bump, we could make lightning too.
Yeah, that would be pretty dope. You know, I do have like a similar version of that. I broke my finger once when I was a teenager, and they said they might have to put a piece of metal in it to help it heal. It's like the part of my index finger closest to my nail. And I wanted them to magnetize it so that I could go up to people and say, oh, by the way, I now have magical powers. When they go, what? I could go, zoop.
And I'm just like, hey, look, spoon dangling from my finger.
I must be an ascended god.
Give me your money and or your phone number.
Why settle for one?
So Dinobot and Pterosaur make that alliance. Cheetor, after Pterosaur has gone, Waspinator and Scorponok show up. They start shooting him. I found it really funny how little Waspinator and Scorponok seem to care about all the damage they're doing to their own ship.
Maybe it's because they know they're the ones that are going to be tasked with repairing it, and they already know where like all the spackle is.
I guess, yeah. Because I was just thinking, if we want to blow up the Predacon ship, maybe we just leave Cheetor in there a couple more hours, and the Predacons will blow it up themselves, trying to kill him.
Oh, that's a really good point.
They're blowing lots of holes in their ship. They create this big explosion when both of their projectiles hit one another. Cheetor labels it a bullet train. I think you pointed out that this is one of many times we see somebody fleeing an explosion in this series.
Yeah, I want to see how many consecutive episodes we go with the bullet train montage. This is episode 4. I think there's been one in every single episode so far.
Yes, I think in the pilot, we probably had one as the mountain of Energon was exploding. And then in the last episode, it was, Rat Trap and Cheetor diving away from Tarantulas' exploding thingamajig. We'll see. So back at the Maximal ship, Dinobot gets all the information he needs from Pterosaur and then says, psych, turns out I didn't need you after all. And then roughs him up a bit and shoots him out like a laundry chute or garbage chute or something. But given Dinobot's previous bloodlust, it was very surprising to me that all he would do is punch Pterosaur a few times and send him packing. But why wouldn't he punch him a few times to daze him and then rip his head off and kill him? You know?
Okay, so that's a good point. But I think they're leaning into him taking his orders from Optimus and Optimus having a no-kill policy.
Yeah, I like that. That he's the honor within Dinobot is that I'm going to follow orders even if I disagree with them. Which then next episode, when we talk about Chain of Command, is something that will come up again. All right, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Dinobot, where they might be going with this, and I feel like they're still trying to figure out Dinobot's character in this episode. I think where they're going with this is Dinobot isn't the ends justify the means character. So he wouldn't kill Pterosaur because that's the wrong end. But he would manipulate Cheetor into going through with the mission because that's going to get them to a place they need it to be or something like that.
Okay, that works for me. Cheetor learns that, wait, we've got a shared energon vein running beneath the Predacon ship and the Maximal ship. If we blow up one ship, it will trigger a chain reaction in the energon that will blow up the Maximal ship as well. So let me tell the guys. He sends them that information at the exact same moment. They send the bomb over. Someone set us up the bomb, and it was the Maximals.
That's right. Make your time.
So Cheetor is like, we don't have enough time to disarm it, but I can unanchor it, and then we can get it out of here. So he does that. He seems to throw it to Pterosaur before the roof opens up. Because when he threw it to Pterosaur, I was like, oh, what is it? Okay, luckily the roof is opening up and Pterosaur can just fly it out of here. But I did not see a conversation take place. Because I was just thinking as a viewer, okay, so Cheetor is going to unlatch it and then just try to run it out of here? Or are they going to shoot it out their own garbage chute or something?
That was a really confusing sequence to me, too. Because it seems like Cheetor is trying to disarm the bomb. So if you're trying to disarm the bomb, why do you need to get it out of the base as soon as possible before it explodes?
Well, they say that 30 seconds is not enough time to disarm the bomb. And when the bomb is discovered, Megatron is like, oh, we don't believe you, Cheetor. Pterosaur, disarm it. And then Pterosaur says, he's right. We don't have enough time to disarm it. So then Cheetor says, but I can release the anchor.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. To get it unlatched from... Okay, that makes sense.
So they do that. Cheetor jumps back on the console to teleport back. And then all the relays explode. Do you have a guess? Was it that Megatron blasting after Cheetor, that blast followed him through the chain and that's what blew them up? Because, well, one, we don't see the blast then show up at the Maximal base. And two, it looks more like the blast just hits the console like a blast would. So it's just like, wait, or was it just too many teleports? And then the survey posts just got used up?
I was trying to figure that out too, because it didn't seem obvious. Like subtly, I thought, oh, from a narrative perspective, it would kind of be cool, make sense that if somebody tried to transport laser energy, that would just blow up all of the different relays. But you would think that if that was happening, that Cheetor's being chased by a laser shot through the transporter, in which case he would have a problem on the other end. So maybe we're left to believe that, yeah, it was one too many uses. And just conveniently, this happened to be the last one.
Yeah. Really, it's because they didn't want a teleporter running from the Maximal ship to the Predacon ship in every episode after this. So they had to do something to break it.
Oh, that would be like introducing cell phones into the universe. You know how like cell phones in every 90s movie would like destroy the plot of that movie?
Yeah.
So I think this is like the cell phone equivalent.
Makes sense. And why every modern horror or thriller movie either has a scene where somebody says, no service, or there's a shot of their phone on the floor for where it fell out of their pocket as they're running away from the bad guy.
And there's no horror after that. The horror is no cell phone service.
Yeah, the guy's like, I'm about to stab you. Like, fine, whatever. I can't doom scroll anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah, I'm roaming, so I'm not even going to try to run away.
The Maximals are happy that Cheetor discovered the Energon vein and kept them from blowing themselves up. I get why that is a decent outcome given the circumstances. But had they followed Optimus's orders and just set up the survey posts in clear weather and then mapped all the Energon the way they planned to, wouldn't that have also taught them perhaps about this shared Energon vein? And then they would have had the same information and known not to blow up the Predacon base, but also not lost the survey posts or the bomb in the process. It's just weird that this episode is another 2 episodes in a row of Cheetor defying orders, being a hothead, going off on his own. And the last episode was about him learning that, like, okay, I've got to cool it a little, trust my teammates, follow orders. But in this episode, the moral is, good thing Cheetor was a hothead, because otherwise we would have blown ourselves up.
Yeah, that completely undoes the moral of the previous episode.
Yeah.
Maybe plot twists in future episodes will also be other characters abandoning all the lessons they learned thus far in the season.
I suppose we'll see. So yeah, this was kind of just like a fun adventure episode. I don't have a lot to say about it, but anything else you wanted to cover?
It's cool to watch this show through the lens of being an adult, because when Optimus says, as much as you prefer to think so, Cheetor, this is not about you. I thought that was actually a really good way of handling that. I'm not doing this because it's punitive. I'm not punishing you. We can't do it for an unrelated reason. So stop taking it personally.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good.
Yeah, I do notice myself, compared to when I watched this show as a teenager, I'm relating to Cheetor much less than I did when I watched the show before. Before I thought, oh yeah, Cheetor is the cool young guy. And now I'm like, Cheetor is the guy that just gives everybody else a headache. I'm relating much more to Optimus and like, just give me 5 fucking minutes, kid.
Yeah, Cheetor is the intern.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do it. You haven't even graduated from college. Calm down. So along that line, all of the individual Maximals besides Optimus talk about what they individually want. But when Optimus pushes back, he pushes back because what they want is not aligned with who they are. It's not aligned with their values. I noticed that he always pushed back that way. Like, I want to kill the Predacons. Killing Predacons is not what we do. And I thought that was also from a leadership perspective. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I like that he's always coming at it from the point of view of the team's needs, both their physical, logistical needs and, satisfying their morality. Optimus, again, he's the GOAT. Even though he's an ape, he's also the GOAT.
Somebody talk about Aptimus.
Whoa, aped. You are also an ape. But I was saying somebody else was the GOAT. You're pretty good too, though.
No, Aptimus is also the GOAT. I'm the gorilla. I'm the GOAT. I'm the robot. You could go to a petting zoo, and whether I'm a goat or a gorilla, you could feed me bananas.
You've convinced me, Aptimus. You are the gorilla of all time.
the gorilla of all time?
or gorilla-ist of all time, maybe.
We'll have to come up with something, a word that begins with G that is like cheesy.
Listeners, tell us your thoughts. beastwarstalk@gmail.com.
Thank you. So anyway, we're talking about Beast Wars.
Yes.
So giving all those props to Optimus, all of that having been said, Dinobot says, if the situations were reversed, Megatron would spare the base and annihilate us. And that's exactly what he attempts to do in season 2. So he's like a foil to Optimus, and Optimus slaps him down. But Dinobot turns out to be right. And I thought that was very cool.
Yeah. Dinobot does offer very keen insights into the general Predacon mindset and Megatron's playbook specifically, which is very tactically helpful, often for the Maximals, and a good insight. Optimus and Dinobot don't get into a full debate about this, but it does remind me just about contemporary politics in the world. That idea of, when they go low, we go high. Just because if they don't want to follow the rules doesn't mean we should start breaking the rules. And that tension between, yes, we should uphold our values versus, well, what good are our values if bad people ignore them and then get to be the ones in charge? Like, our values are just as void then anyway, so there is that good tension, which this episode doesn't go into. And I don't remember to what extent the series does in general, but it just reminded me of that real world conundrum.
I think it does go into that because you could make an argument that Optimus does succumb to that. He does sign off on sending the bomb, and the person who has to remind them of who they are is Cheetor, the person who had been getting the talking to the whole time.
Yeah, sort of. Although I think had Cheetor discovered, oh, great, destroying the Predacon base will not adversely affect us in any way, I don't think Cheetor would have stopped the bomb. I think the only reason Cheetor and any of the Maximals ended up being glad that the Predacon base did not get destroyed is because it would have killed them. That, the Predacons theoretically had 30 seconds to escape, but the Maximals would have been sitting there just looking at their readouts and like, oh, great, the Predacon base destroyed. What? Oh no, this energon explosion is happening. And, they wouldn't have had the 30-second head start themselves.
Okay, so that's a good point. But afterwards, if you're Optimus Primal, don't you feel a little like that was a very un-Optimus decision to make as more of an Aptimus decision?
Yes. Yeah. And maybe that is why Optimus in the end is able to join in, and I'll have a laugh about Cheetor being a reckless kid because all right, well, we really dodged a bullet this time. Let's laugh it off and hopefully we've learned something for tomorrow.
Which is like a sociopathic thing to do. Like that ending for every kids show episode.
Yeah. I mean, although looking at it from an adult perspective, I do get it, whether it's gallows humor or whether it's just that you've got this adrenaline built up and then you have to release it somehow, and laughter is a way that it gets released. People often talk about that laughter and horror are kind of two sides of the same coin. They're both an emotional release. It's just one is a laugh and the other is a scream. But either way, at the end, you're then like, okay, but I'm safe.
Wow. I had never heard that. That's really interesting. Speaking of which, Energon in the episode is an untested variable, and you have to be careful. And I see that as a proxy for emotional tensions running high.
Yeah.
Managing the Energon is a touchy subject. Managing everyone's emotions in the situation is a touchy subject.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's been a while since I've really become entrenched in watching a kids' TV show. And, some of the scenes that are commonplace for 80s and 90s kids' cartoon shows are really hilarious to watch as an adult in 2024. Like seeing a pterodactyl go up to a computer screen to see if it has the right data it needs.
Yes.
And, a child going, man, I had a rough day at school, but it wasn't so bad after I saw a velociraptor give a pep talk to a cheetah.
Yeah.
I noticed that Cheetor's eyes are a different color after transforming. And I mean the cheetah eyes. In beast mode.
Yes, I noticed.
Oh, you noticed that too?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
In beast mode, his animal eyes are green. In robot mode, his beast face becomes his chest plate. And then the eyes turn red. And then his robot eyes are orange. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah. I did notice that specifically in this episode, Equal Measures. I didn't track if that is still the case in other episodes too. We'll need to keep an eye out for that. Was that just like an animation goof? Or is that just, we built his robot model and we built his cheetah model, and those are two different teams who didn't share notes or something?
Oh, that's actually a really good explanation.
Yeah, I need to remind you, they're not actual robots transforming. It is animation and done by flawed humans.
Okay, I'll give them a mulligan on this one. So as we alluded to earlier, in the first 10 minutes, there are two shots of Cheetor hanging by one arm, about to fall to his death into some kind of substance, either energon or lava. So that's another check mark on a Beast Wars bingo.
Yeah, bullet trains hanging from a perilous spot.
There you go. Those are two. Then in a future episode, I start counting the number of times characters say maximize or terrorize. I'll ask you to guess how many times it's said before we recap the episode. And then at the end, I'll reveal it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I feel like also for Beast Wars Bingo, other things we could keep an eye out for are the catchphrases, like we're all going to die, or, oh, yes, or that's just prime.
Oh, yeah, that would be easy. But those are kind of intentional bingo things. Do you think it's intentional? Is it like a joke by the animators or the writers that every single episode has a bullet train montage?
Oh, no, I don't think it's a joke. I think, like I said in our last episode, I think that's them stretching their animation budget. You can run this sequence and then render it from the three different angles. And it's, it gives you 10 seconds of footage for about the same amount of work as 5 seconds of footage or something like that. I'm not an animator. That could be wrong. If you are a professional animator, we'd love to have you on the show and talk about it.
Especially if you were animating in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yes. If you worked at Mainframe and worked on Beast Wars Transformers, please hit us up.
Yeah, legit.
We will not even check your credentials. We will just... So anybody can just claim to be an animator and we'll have you on.
Yeah, if you're entertaining, we'll have you on.
Yeah.
This is something I thought about as a child and I remembered in this episode. Pterosaur's design is really weird. So first of all, Pterosaur is the only Transformer whose chest plate is his butt. I've always found something weird about that design. And also, on a completely different wavelength, Pterosaur's face reminds me of Scott Weiland, the late frontman of Stone Temple Pilots.
I don't know what he looks like. Let me look him up.
I don't know why. I bet you're going to look it up and their faces are not going to look alike at all. Maybe it's because there's that peak on his helmet and his face and he's a little slim and, Scott Weiland was always performing like without a shirt on, and I don't know why.
I don't think I'd have made the connection myself, but I can see it. Especially, Scott Weiland's chest really does kind of look like a pterodactyl butt. So maybe that's what you're thinking.
That and maybe the little peak in his hair as the helmet. That's what we'll go with. But thank you for allowing me to get that out of my system.
Yeah, to get that off of your pterodactyl butt chest, as it were.
Get that off. Way to get that off my butt chest.
Yeah.
Can you do a pterosaur impression?
For a little bit before my voice comes out. I don't know why everybody keeps calling me butt chest.
That's really good. I couldn't even think of how to do that. Who was the actor who did the Aflac duck?
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, he's like a higher pitched Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, let's go with that. I thought the joke between Waspinator and Scorponok was really funny. Report this to Megatron. Report this to Megatron. You're second in command. And then he goes, to make it in order. I thought that was really funny. I also wrote down the point, does Dinobot not immediately kill Pterosaur because Optimus is rubbing off on him?
Yeah, that would also work.
He says, I'm not a team player, but he's a Maximal.
Maybe he just means I'm not a team player in the way that, like, well, yes, technically I'm a member of a team, but I know I'm really abrasive and do not work well with others.
My role on a team is the guy who's not a team player.
Yes.
The look that Optimus gives Dinobot when Dinobot tells him they can beam a bomb into the Predacon's base is hilarious. It's like the "what you talking about" Willis face. What if we can beam in a bomb? What you talking about, Willis?
It was that whole sequence of that was Cheetor has no doubt been killed by now. No, but don't worry. On the bright side, we can send a bomb. Like, tell me more.
Both parties see the value in the other's way of thinking. And I'm talking about, I think, Optimus and Cheetor. In the end, they all come away with seeing the flaws in their own default strategies. One last thought is every plot seems to hinge on a character falling to their death or getting away from a bomb that's blowing up. Are cartoons still like this?
I don't know. We try to watch slightly less violent stuff with our son. So I can tell you for sure Bluey is not like this. Sesame Street has far fewer bombs and slow motion explosions. We did watch She-Ra, the Netflix She-Ra, which is more violent than either of those two shows, but it didn't have every episode a perilous dangle or jumping out away from an explosion. I don't know if it was a 90s thing. Maybe it was just a fascination specifically on the part of the Beast Wars creators, or the mainframe animators were like, listen, we've got like one really great explosion effect that we can just like push a button and put that in any episode. So it would kind of help our workflow if you work an explosion into every episode because we've already got that rigged up.
Oh my God. They start every episode with the entrance music, the end music, and then a bomb. And then you just write around those things.
Yes.
That's funny. I think that's all I had.
Okay. So that will wrap us up for Equal Measures. I've been Andy Hunter.
And I've been Phil Thomas.
And now we have talked about Beast Wars.